Now, for those of you who are aware of me before I made this channel, you'll know exactly why I made it. When I made my main channel, every single time I uploaded, I had the philosophy that it had to be better than the last video. Now, this wasn't always the case. It's not like I fulfilled that every single time, but I always felt the pressure of that idea. And I made this channel with the explicit reasoning that I didn't want that pressure anymore, and that it didn't really matter whether the last video was better or worse than the next one. I'm just making videos that I want to make. And they're intentionally simple to make. I get on Discord with a friend and I look at something. Maybe I look at something by myself. Maybe it's just an edited down stream. But recently I've seen a couple of comments and a couple of posts on Reddit that got me thinking, is the stuff that I make on this channel slop? Now, some of you may look at the screen bewildered at this point because you may think, Jack, what the f do you mean is this slop? And honestly, it's a good question because I don't think I can give you a definitive answer. The term slop is a sort of recent one that just gets thrown around on the internet now. Many people refer to their second channels as their slop channels, where they make the easy stuff. I mean, it literally, like, in its actual definition, just means like liquid, tasteless food. It's the stuff that you feed like pigs or livestock. But when using this internet context, I suppose the idea is that the content you are making is like the bare minimum. It's this sort of flavorless shit that your audience just consumes. And I'll be honest, I don't really like that idea. Now, as I said, I don't want this channel to be highbrow particularly. This is my second channel, and although right now it's the only place I'm posting because the main channel's on hiatus, that will be rectified one day. And when that day comes, this is going to be the place for the simpler stuff. The stuff that I can guarantee I can churn out at a regular cycle. My workflow is ever changing. Some weeks I'm really busy. Some weeks I'm really free. And with the type of content I'm making over here, that sort of reaction commentary type stuff, I can guarantee that I can make one a week. I have that time. But on the occasion I've done more highbrow stuff like the vlogs or the more artsy stuff, I can't guarantee I always have time for that. Some of these are real productions that need camera people and lighting and locations. And like, there's so many moving factors. And on some weeks, if I have like a podcast double recording or I have an event, I can't guarantee that's going to get made. I can guarantee that I can get on Discord and look at a funny video with friends. But I'll be honest, even recently that's kind of slipped, where it's just been recycled live streams. I'll be completely transparent. I'm going away to Japan in like a few days as of this video being uploaded for 2 weeks. And then after I get back, I'm home for like a week before I go on tour for another 6 weeks. I'm away for like 2 months. My schedule doesn't exactly slow down when I get back either. So I'm doing like the most filming I've ever done to make sure our podcast and this second channel is backlogged to cover that break. And I have let the quality slip a little bit over here. The last couple of videos have just been recycled live streams and me looking at like Instagram Reels or TikToks. And I'll be honest, they're not the best I've ever made. I don't think they're bad. They're fine, but they're just that. They're slop. And I just want to make a promise now that although I can't guarantee that there'll never be another video like that again, I mean, you know what? Fuck it. I actually kind of enjoy looking at Instagram Reels. I'm going to guarantee you now that there's not going to be much of it. It's going to be occasional. It's going to be when I really can't afford to do anything else. Unlike recently where it's been a little back to back. I mean, it's been split up with the vlogs, but not everyone's watching those. I realize some people are only here for the stuff they're used to, and the stuff they're used to has been the lower end. So I apologize. But in a way, I'm kind of glad that I had this experience. One, it told me what you guys kind of expect from me. I saw the point at which people started making comments about this sort of stuff. I saw the point at which, like, the content goes from being reaction fun stuff, where I actually add a little bit, to being just stuff. And it also taught me a lot about the internet on the whole right now. And this is kind of what the rest of this video is going to be about. You see, I'd say I'm really not the only person that has done this. There are some creators who do this full time for a living, this like slop content. And there's no shame in that if that's what you want to do. I just realized it's not what I want to do. And yet, despite that, here I've been doing it. And look, people talk about the internet changing all the time and how it's different from what it used to be. But this is the first time I've ever really realized exactly what that is. And this is the conclusion I came to. On pretty much all social media now, most people, the majority of people posting on there are not there to make art anymore. They're there to make content. And that may seem obvious because content is the word everybody uses these days as well. It's not like this has been a secret. It's just, I guess it's a change I never saw happening. I never noticed this transition from people who were coming onto the internet to make genuine creative passion projects to people who were making content to, you know, fulfill their audience and pay their bills. And that may not seem like a huge deal or maybe even a big difference, but I think that mindset shift is the reason the internet feels so different from what it did 10, even like 5 years ago. Now, the point I'm about to make, I've already spoken on in this video here. So I'd encourage you to go watch that if you want my full thoughts. But when I started watching YouTube like 12 years ago now, the content was original and creative. And the things that were big were the most original and the most creative things. Albeit a lot of it was very stupid, but it was fresh, I suppose. And what that did is it encouraged creators to try things. When you see the top thing is something so strange that no one could have thought of it in their wildest dreams, your wild, crazy thoughts feel like there's something that might work. But now all I hear from other creators or see on YouTube or even nearly slipped into myself is this slop pipeline. And there's a really simple reason for this. The videos that perform the best are these slop videos. I mean, look at my channel. All the biggest videos are Instagram Reels reactions. I mean, admittedly, all the ones first of the videos were J-Schlap. But then after, you get the point. And when I have pushed the boat out and tried something new and more creative, although the comments are lovely and the people that do see it really enjoy it, the views are halved. And you don't want to sit here and focus on those as a creator, because at the end of the day, you should be fulfilled by your creative ventures and just seeing that anyone enjoyed them. I mean, at the end of the day, when 50K people watch a video, that's 50,000 people who watched it. I can't comprehend that amount of people. The video I did the other week about supercars, that in my opinion did not perform very well, had as many people watch it as one show at the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to that arena? It's electric. But the YouTube dashboard and the constant down arrows comparing you to your previous videos and the YouTube homepage with Mr. Beast with like 100 million views a video makes you feel like that's tiny. And not only that, but your income's directly linked to how many people watch the video. And no one wants to be money focused, but everyone has bills. And as I get older and I get more responsibilities and I start to try and progress my life into the next chapters, that's important. More important than when I was 17. And I know that pretty much every other YouTuber feels the same way. And yet we all feel unfulfilled by it. And the audience in the comments don't seem to like the videos either. But then you get caught in this question. If the audience don't like it and the creators don't like it, why is it getting more views? It makes you consider whether the change is not in the creators, but in the consumption of social media. It's a real chicken and egg situation. Like, did YouTubers start making more and more slop over the years, forcing consumers to watch more of it? Or did consumers start watching more of it, forcing creators to make more of it? I don't know. And with no one seeming to be happy with the situation, there's no indicator. I suppose another thing that crosses my mind as to why this might have happened is the fact that this is a career now. 10 years ago when people were doing this, there was only just money being introduced into it. Everyone was doing it as a hobby. No one had aspirations of doing anything more. Maybe it just started, but people really believed that they were going to make their living doing exactly what they loved. And now people see this as a career option. I mean, look at like statistics coming out of schools. When you ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, they say YouTuber. Like a lot of the time. This is a job now. And some people look at it that way, wholly. They don't see it as a creative outlet so much as a creative job. A fun job, sure, but as a job generally has, with constraints. Many people go into this seeing the categories of YouTubers that exist and try and fit a mold instead of making a mold like people used to. And the positive of that, I suppose, is as more people do this and lay out the path, more people look at that path and are able to break into it. It's accessible now. It's easier to do something when you've seen people do it before. But that leads on the consumer side to us seeing a lot of the same old. And it feels to me that people are more interested in innovating in the way of profit than they are in the way of creativity and fun. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I've done it. We've all done it. As I said earlier, this is my job. But I think we hold a responsibility to strike a balance as creators. At least if we want to keep our audience satisfied. And I'll be honest, I don't have the solution to this problem. I don't know how to reduce the slop online. Because I get the appeal as to why it is prominent on both sides. It's like the same reason that shows like Family Guy are still running and have been for like nearly 30 years. They're easy consumption. Over the years, life has gotten more and more stressful for people. People work longer hours and get less pay. Stress is high. And most people want to unwind at the end of the day. And something really, really simple that you can switch your brain off and just chuckle along to is pleasant. I mean, I fall victim to it all the time. You know, I catch myself on Instagram Reels scrolling even when I'm not recording. Even if I don't want to. Even if I'd rather say that I was watching some high piece of art, some amazing movie. I catch myself in these cycles. So maybe the problem isn't with the way we consume or create media, but the way we live our lives and what we now look for in our escapism. Maybe as life becomes more complicated, our media becomes simpler. But that longing for something with more substance tells me that that isn't what we want. I don't think I've met a single person who says that slop is good, other than anyone looking to line their pockets. Look, I'm not going to tell you to stop consuming it. I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to stop creating it completely. I definitely want to raise the standard of what I'm creating on this channel a bit. When I look even 4 months ago when I did the video with Baby No Money or with James Marriott, those were just a little bit more original and a little bit more me than the stuff recently, and that's enough for me. That's all I want to do. This can still be light entertainment, and I think people want that. Honestly, I think everyone just needs to find their balance. I can't believe I'm saying such a stupid sentence, but slop is a spectrum. If you put like baby sensory videos on one end and like Oppenheimer at the other, everything sits between them. And at any given point, someone might want to watch something at some point on the spectrum. And it's all to do with their age and their taste and their lives. So really, there's a space for everyone. But I can't help but feel that we're just a little bit too close to this end of the spectrum. But I have faith. I think the more and more I hear the sentiment that everything's getting a little too sloppy, I feel like that brings us closer to returning to the golden age. The age where people's just making whatever their heart desires. The more I speak to creators, the more you hear about people with projects that they're just dying to make. Itching to make if only the views were there. That can only happen for so long. We gotta reach a point where suddenly one person makes their project and it does well and it inspires everyone else to make theirs. And hey, as I say, I'm bringing back the main channel soon, and my goal for there is just to make things that my heart desires. So you never know, maybe I'm gonna be the guy to boil it all over. But it's probably not gonna be. It's probably gonna be someone with more subscribers. But that being said, please do subscribe, because the more of you that do gives me higher chances to actually be that guy. And I would appreciate that. I'd love to go down with a legacy like that. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. This isn't a video where I have a conclusion to make or like an answer. This is just something that's been dancing around my mind. I think it's interesting to think about. Why has this happened? I'm not 100% sure. Someone's got the answer, I'm sure. They're probably smarter than me. Yeah, that's it for this week. As I say, as of next week, I'll be in Japan, but I've already got a couple of little bits filmed. They're a little bit interesting, so I hope you enjoy them. The slop won't stop, but it'll be a little tastier.